Hey everybody, Todd Miller here. I want to talk to you about 3 things you can do to handle a lowball offer. Now, so the first thing you have to do is define a lowball offer. Now, a definition of a lowball offer does not mean that the house was listed for $200,000 and they offered $160,000. That is not necessarily a lowball. Lowball offer, the definition is basically you take the actual value or the value that a normal person would perceive that something is worth, and then you offer a lot less than that. That's lowball. So for a house listed at $200,000, if it's actually only worth $160,000 and someone offers $160,000, it's not a lowball offer, right? List price doesn't really mean anything. That's just a starting point. But in the normal case is houses are listed for $200,000. The houses are all sold at $200,000. Somebody sends you an offer for $160,000. Okay, so the first thing to do is have a conversation with the other party, whether it's agent to agent, and just say, hey, look, you can see we're listed for $200,000. You can see this. What's going on? I've seen this before. Oh my gosh, we actually wrote offers on 3 properties. One of them was worth $160,000. We made a mistake. We really meant to offer you $195,000 or something like that, right? They made a mistake. It's possible they made a mistake. I've actually had it happen. They actually wrote the wrong address on the offer and sent it to me. So they sent me a perfect offer, but they had a different address for a different listing we had, and the whole thing ended up being a mess. But anyway, that's for a whole nother video. So just make sure that you have a little communication there so that we're on the same page. Okay, the second thing you can do to handle a lowball offer is just make a counter offer. A lot of times people get upset, they get emotional, they say, F them, I'm not going to deal with them, but go ahead, prepare a counter. And if you're not changing your price, then go ahead and just counter back at whatever your amount is. Just do it. Just send it back the counter and see what they do. If you get to the point where it gets ridiculous, you can have another conversation with them and say, hey, this is getting ridiculous. My client's not moving, or I'm not moving. This is the price. That's it. There's not a negotiation here. The third thing you can do is just take your ego out of it. This is a negotiation. This is a business transaction. Having personal feelings like, oh, I feel terrible. This person's insulting me. You have to keep this in mind. In some cultures in the world, no one ever buys at the price that something is marked at. If you're in the United States and you go into a grocery store and there's a loaf of bread and it says it's $1.50, you put it in your cart, you take it to the front, you pay the $1.50 for it. You don't negotiate that. We have a culture in the United States for a certain number of things we don't really negotiate. And then we have a culture for other things like homes and cars and repairs on your house, a couple of things like that. Sometimes even salaries. We negotiate. We negotiate what we're going to pay or whatever, right? Well, in other cultures, almost everything is negotiable. Like literally everything is negotiable. So you have to keep that in mind because they may come from that culture where they're used to doing that. And I actually had a client once who was from one of those cultures, and it was the same scenario. To make the numbers even, house was listed at $200,000. They lowballed it. We went back and forth a couple times. They ended up paying $200,000 for the house. And the answer, when I asked him, hey, why did we go through all this? He said to me, I just wanted to know. Like, I just wanted to be sure I was getting a good value and I wasn't being ripped off. Okay? So those are 3 techniques you can use to handle a lowball offer. I have a whole bunch of other videos right here. You can watch those as well. Please subscribe to the channel, and thanks a lot.